Hey, welcome back to the Expert Edge. Today we have Larry Daugherty. He's a client of mine and has had some phenomenal success, but when we met, he was just getting started. And so I wanted to bring him on to share his story. He's such a good dude. And what I want you to look for in his story is the decisions that he made, the courage he took to launch things, what he didn't wait for to take action. So many good things. And we basically dive into how he had a 6-figure launch right from the get-go, from basically ground zero straight into it. And it's a pretty cool story. And so let's get into today's conversation. And before we do, if you haven't registered for one of my workshops, I've got a workshop coming up called Speak to Convert. And so we go deep into how to design presentations and deliver presentations that sell. And so if you want to check that out, colinboyd.co/speak. I'm running it live on a Monday at the moment, and it's good. We're getting such good feedback from it. So that is really about how to up-level your speaking communication so that you can communicate the value of what you do so you can get more sales. So check that out, colinboyd.co/speak. Let's get into today's conversation with Larry Daugherty. Hey, it's Colin, and you are listening to the Expert Edge podcast. I was a professional speaker for over a decade, and now I focus on helping coaches, speakers, and course creators to speak and sell on virtual and live stages. The Expert Edge podcast is weekly content focused on helping you build your expert business. We cover marketing, storytelling, sales, communication skills, and so much more. Thanks for taking the time to tune in, and make sure you subscribe and follow us on all our social channels so you don't miss a thing. Let's listen to today's episode. Larry Daugherty, welcome to the Expert Edge, brother.
Colin, dude, it has been way too long. I've been looking forward to this. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, I'm excited. I'm excited to have this conversation and to share you with my audience, because we did some work together a little while ago, and just watching, first of all, I mean, when I first met you, I was like, this dude is a rock star. He's such a legend. And you've just got this incredible energy about yourself and I think it's bigger than anything of like your expertise, because you're very, very, established and well educated. But it's like just who you are as an actual character, as a person, for me is like the biggest achievement that I've seen in people's lives, of the fact that like just your energy and who you are is the most attractive thing about you, not just your knowledge. And so I just wanted to acknowledge you right from the get-go.
Oh man, that means so much to me. Thank you so much. I remember the first time I heard you speak. I can't remember if you were on Brandon Turner's podcast or he was on your podcast. But
we've swapped a few times. Yeah.
But I was like, just listening to you speak and articulate and tell stories. I knew instantly you were somebody that I wanted to get to know. So man.
I love this.
Yeah.
So let's give everyone some context. We met originally. You did some private client work with me, and this is not something I advertise. It's something that I've started to kind of teach a little bit, but initially you came in and we did some private client work together. How did we connect? Was it through a podcast? Did you hear me on a podcast and then you applied, and what was the process?
So I heard you on that podcast, and I think I gave you a follow on social media. Yeah. And then I think you did some sort of a short or a story about a mastermind that you were launching. And I remember filling out a survey for the mastermind, and then I booked an interview with you.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. That's right. And then that was the mastermind I didn't end up running.
Well, I'll never forget, like I had all this excitement about the mastermind, and then like I'm on the edge of my seat. I was ready to sign on the dotted line. I didn't even know how much it cost. Yeah. And then you said to me, I'll never forget what you said. You looked at me and you said, Larry, I actually don't think you're a good fit for the mastermind. You remember saying that to me?
Actually, wait a minute. Now I'm getting confused. Yes. So this is real data. I love this, guys. So I said to you, Larry, you're not a good fit. What was that like? Was that, tell me about that.
I was like, oh shit. Can I swear, by the way?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I was just so gutted. I was like totally looking forward to this. You were the guy. I just knew for some reason that you were the guy that I wanted to work with. And
Yeah.
to be honest, Colin, I didn't even really have clear direction on what I wanted to do. Like I was going to write a
Mm,
book. I was going to start a course. Like, I was kind of all over the place.
mm,
But I knew that you were the guy to help me get clarity on what I wanted to do. But yeah, you said you're not the best fit for my mastermind. There was a pause. I'm waiting to like respond. And then you said, I actually think you would be a much better fit for one-on-one coaching.
yeah. And so this is not something that I offer publicly, but when I come across a person who I think would be a right fit for it, and there are specific criteria I'm looking for, that's when I kind of mention it. Now, so that's like a bit of context. And I share that because, you know, people listening, like they run masterminds and they do private coaching and they launch stuff like that. And then we got together and tell the audience about your journey of, because the reason I said you weren't ready for my mastermind was you'd had a lot of success in your career and in your job and what you'd done. Like you'd already created financial freedom for yourself through your investing. And so like you blew me away. I'm like, this dude is the real deal. But you were very young in your expert business. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
hadn't really built anything yet. And so that was really the only reason that I was like, I don't think that it's a right fit, but I knew that you were like a gung ho person, like you were ready to go, locked and loaded, and you would do the work. And so talk to people, tell us about the journey of finding your niche and what you do, and then launching it for the first time and what that journey's looked like in that, maybe that first phase.
Yeah, sure. Um, so I'm a physician. My journey to become a physician was very long, 15 years of training. To become a physician, you go all in, right?
Yeah.
And there's other aspects of your identity that you almost need to forget about, at least suppress, or if not even like kill entirely. It's like all in. I had classmates in medical school. I had one that was a concert pianist, never touched the piano during medical school. I had another classmate that was in the Final Four for NCAA basketball, hardly ever touched a basketball during medical school. Just gives you an idea, like, 4 years
Wow.
of med school, then residency, internship. Yeah, it's all in. And so
What
that
did
was
you
kind of,
come out as a physician? Just so people are
so
aware.
I treat cancer patients. I'm a radiation oncologist.
Right. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
My best mate is a cardiothoracic surgeon. He just became a surgeon like this year, and it has been a monster of a
Yeah.
journey. So I can
Yeah.
appreciate what you're saying. But so you're all in, you've done your physician work, and then yeah, chat us through what happened.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, there was the other part of myself that I really put on hold was this adventure, mountains, outside that I grew up very passionate about, but it had very much been put to the wayside. But here I am, finally got through everything. I'm working at the Mayo Clinic. I had my dream job. I'm doing research like tip of the sword, and I got sent to Europe to on this speaking assignment. And like I'm at this place where I should be totally fulfilled, right? Because I've
Mm.
made it. But honestly, like I was hollow inside and it hardly made any sense to me. But I'm there and I'm on the plane and I'm flipping through this magazine and there was this advertisement in the magazine. It was Outside Magazine and it just like popped off the page. And I don't know if you've ever had an experience like that where something just like pops off the page at you. But for what this advertisement was, it was for this little contest that if you won, you got to go on this all expense paid trip to Scandinavia in Norway and Sweden and mush dogs, like dog sled race
Yeah.
above the Arctic Circle. And maybe some people think that's crazy, but for me, that was like it lit up
Exciting.
lit
Yeah.
something inside of me. And honestly, so long story short, I entered this contest. I was fortunate to win. I got to go on the adventure of a lifetime. But there I was coming back home to sunny Florida, to my job in medicine, to this full identity that was still there. But I had a little bit of a taste of that little side of myself that I had put on hold. And it was almost like a little ember, a remnant of an old fire that I was just like afraid to blow on it. Because if I blew on that, well, what does that mean for the physician identity side of
Yeah.
myself? I was afraid that this might become another raging fire over here, and how could I balance these two things? But I did blow on it. and and I started to do things for myself for the first time in a long time. I got back into mountain climbing. I eventually climbed Mount Everest. We moved to Alaska. I raced dogs. I did this 1,000-mile race called the Iditarod. I did all these incredible things. But really what all of that meant for me was this idea of freedom. And how could I carve out a freedom for myself where I could balance these two things, still have an enormously meaningful career as a physician, but still be true to that part of myself. And so the way that I was able to do that, Colin, was with real estate. I was able to figure out real estate. And for me, it was large apartment buildings, which provided enough cash flow where medicine became optional. And when medicine became optional, for me, medicine became more fulfilling, because then I was able to say no to the things in medicine that I didn't want to do. Maybe I don't want to take call, like, ever. Maybe I don't ever want to work a holiday again, or one of my kids' birthdays again, but I still love medicine. So I was able to kind of carve out this way where I could satisfy kind of both identities in myself. And when I met you, it was all just about, man, I felt like I had unlocked this secret, because there were so many physicians that were struggling with burnout. And I saw a lot of physicians leaving medicine, and a lot of physicians interested in investing in real estate as a pathway to get out. And for me, it was like, you don't actually have to get out. Like, maybe if I can kind of teach this formula, we can drill down to what's making you unhappy, so we don't lose these best physicians and they can find fulfillment again in medicine. So that was really my heart for wanting to share.
Yeah. So you came to me and we got chatting, and I was like, okay, I could tell you're the real deal. You've done something with your life. Then you went into, hey, I want to teach physicians how to use real estate to create freedom in their lives through passive income, or more passive income, so that they can stay as a physician, but choose their schedule and choose their life. Was that kind of the premise of it?
Yeah, we niched it down even further, actually, because my niche was, I wanted to deal with physicians who already were experienced real estate investors and who wanted to go bigger. They wanted to invest in what we call commercial multifamily, or large apartment buildings.
Right.
And I remember in fact, well, number one, I didn't know how big of a market there would be for that little niche.
Yeah.
And number two, I actually, before we did this podcast recording, I was watching you and I's first recording of our first coaching session. And it was so revealing. That was 4 years ago. In that recording, like, dude, I was so afraid to even say these things out loud. Like, I didn't want to put myself out there to the world, because it felt like a betrayal still of that identity as a physician. And I also was just like afraid to share with my colleagues this awesome life that I'd carved out for myself. I had so much fear and limiting beliefs around putting myself out there.
Yeah. This is amazing. So then what happened? Chat us through the first launch of this, like what you put together as an offer. And we ended up creating that name, the Freedom Physician, right? That was
You did. It was so good. It was so good. So perfect.
It was good. Yeah, you're right. I was being nice. When I came up with that with that name for you, the freedomphysician.com, that's just like, I mean, the Freedom Physician, that alliteration just worked really well. It helps people kind of understand what you do, but it's physician focused. So there's a few things I want to notice here. Really tight niche. The reason why this worked so well right from the get-go is you knew who you were speaking to. It was physicians. Physicians usually have money, not enough time. So that's a great niche. Anyone who has resource and limited time are willing to part with resource to get more time. And so first off the bat, I was like, okay, this is a good niche. Now, I will say you don't have to be a physician to be able to focus on that. Let's say you're doing teaching real estate. I don't think you have to be a physician, but it gave you a lot of credibility, the fact that you were, right? But you've got this physicians and then real estate, and then you even niche down further. So it was like the message was real estate and passive income with real estate investing. And then the person is a physician. So with niching, it's like niching, you got to niche on both ends, is the person and the message. And you niched on both. You don't always have to niche on both, but you niched on both, which is really nice. And it was not just people who are interested in real estate, like they're already in real estate, but they want to go to the next level and kind of unlock that. So talk to me about when you chose that niche and you went in, what did the first launch look like? And share some numbers if you feel comfortable. Like I think people just love being exposed to this stuff and what's possible.
Oh, sure. Nothing's off limits. Well, first you taught me what a lead magnet even was. Like I was so green.
This is why I said you weren't ready for the mastermind.
Yeah, I wasn't ready.
yeah.
I needed you to hold my hand. So we developed this lead magnet, and I don't even remember what the lead magnet was, but we put out some sort of a simple thing. And dude, I put it out there just like social media. I hadn't created the course yet. That's also important. Like I had experienced it, right? Like I had acquired 200 units of multifamily in a short period of time. I knew what to do, but I hadn't developed the curriculum. But we put out this little lead magnet. Hundreds of people answered the lead magnet. And then you helped me then develop a survey as the next step to booking a call. So did the lead magnet, then to kind of sort through those hundreds of leads, because I wanted to launch with a cohort of 30. I felt like that was manageable. We did the survey, and then I booked these discovery calls. And honestly, dude, I think I had 100% close rates on those discovery calls.
That's insane.
I don't remember anyone saying no. And that's important because, well, it was great, but also I had so much fear and trepidation, again, about putting myself out there, but also I thought that I was charging like a crazy amount. And my price was $3,500 for my launch.
Yeah.
And everyone said yes.
And so I will say, I mean, as a beta launch, it's definitely a higher priced beta, like a pilot launch. But if you compare it to what the result is, and then you look at the person who's buying it, and then you look at your experience as well of like, you are the real deal. You're not just teaching this stuff, you've done it. Like all of that combined creates so much believability and credibility, which, it doesn't surprise me that you had, basically 100% close rate. And so, you did what? A six figure first initial cohort.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was, I remember you texted me and you were like, dude, I just did 6 figures.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's the secret, Larry.
Well, it was exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
Because now I got to develop this course, right?
So what did that look like? Building out the course and delivering it live for the first time with 30 people, and you've just made $100,000 from them. And what did that look like?
First of all, I think that I didn't charge enough. And I will say that because it was a 3-month course where we met together twice per month on Zoom. But then I also committed 9 months of mastermind after that, where we would get together. I can't remember if it was every month or twice a month. I think it was twice a month.
Oh, wow.
So it was a 1 year.
I didn't know you did the 9 month after.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
Oh,
it was too much.
The heck? I would have told you not to do that. Did you just sneak that in?
I must have snuck it in. I don't remember. It was a 1 year program.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I think if it was 3 months, I would have felt, great about everything. But I overcommitted on on the resources.
Sure.
So what that looked like practically speaking is, because I had these Zoom sessions every 2 weeks, that just gave me 2 weeks to develop, the script and the slides for the next Zoom session.
Yeah.
But the nice thing was, by the end of that, now the curriculum is done, and then I could launch it again.
Yeah. So what did that look like? You launched it again. How did you launch it again? And did you do similar numbers?
Yeah. So my second cohort, I raised the price to $5,000.
Yep.
And now I had no problem filling again at 30 people.
Wow. So we did 150K.
Yeah.
And were most people paying in full?
That was my requirement before we even started pay in full.
Boom.
Yeah.
There it is. So good. And then you hosted another one, right? You went another cohort?
So yeah, I did these 2 cohorts, but now like part of the problem was that these cohorts started stacking because now I'm teaching the course, but I also have the mastermind. I'm
Yeah.
still working part-time in medicine. I'm also managing the real estate
Yeah, that's
stuff.
so true. You've got real estate, you've got medicine, then you've got this teaching business, right? That's a lot
Yeah,
on.
5 kids. And like the whole reason I did this is because I like my freedom. I like doing
Yeah.
stuff. And so it
Yeah.
started to interfere a little bit with my lifestyle.
Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense. I mean, most people are not still working as a physician and doing as much other stuff outside of as you are. So, but
yeah,
yes, sorry, keep going.
yeah. So that's where I iterated and I thought, okay, instead of 30 people, I'd love to shrink this down significantly. And so I changed the name. So it was the Freedom Physician.
Yep.
And I still, the overall brand was the Freedom Physician, but now I
Yeah.
had a new offering called Rapid Rise.
Okay.
Another alliteration.
Love it.
Yeah. So Rapid Rise was really the same curriculum, but with only 5 participants. And now these participants got my cell phone, my email address. They could schedule one-on-ones during
Yep.
that 3-month period of time.
Yep.
And I 6x the price. I charged $30,000 each for those 5 people.
Yep. And you sold this through some sales calls? Like you would get on a call with them, walk them through the offer, that sort of stuff?
Yeah. So at that point, my virtual assistant, one of my virtual assistants who helps me manage my real estate stuff, I brought her on to the sales side. And as these surveys would come in, she would do the initial discovery call. She had sat through enough of them with me, like, close to 100 at that point. And so I had her do the initial screening because I didn't want to go through 30. I knew this one was going to be a little bit harder to sell, a higher sticker price.
Yeah.
And probably my close rate on that one was closer to like 20 to 30%.
Yeah.
But she was doing that initial call and only presenting the people who were genuinely interested. So by the time they got to me, it was still pretty close to 100.
Yeah. And I like that. I mean, I teach that in our elite and platinum programs of the idea of if you're selling high ticket, you actually need more friction to sell high ticket, and high ticket closes better when there's more friction, from the sense of rather than going straight to a single call, you actually do a pre-call and then you do a second call. And the idea of it is that concept of you want the prospect to be moving towards the offer faster than you're even making the offer.
Oh,
and
wow.
so because if you put in that first call, they're like, oh my gosh, that was good. I didn't even get sold to. Like, I feel really good about it. I trust the person. So when you get to the closing call, like they are ready. They're ready to go. They're ready to sign on the line. And then you say to them, you're not a right fit. And then you tell them.
Exactly. I learned from the best.
So good. I love what you've done, Larry. Now what I love about what you've built as well, and I love people hearing your story, because the journey of it. Now you've been running the real estate stuff, and then you had this other passion for working with men and working like in their lives and finding adventure. Like, tell us about the new offer you've created and what that looks like.
Yeah, so I did a couple of rounds of that Rapid Rise program, which was, again, just targeted to physicians. And dude, now I've done, basically maybe 6 cohorts altogether, each of them with a 1-year commitment to the mastermind stacked on. And
nice.
Dude, like initially very exciting, super fun. I loved sharing. But I started to get a little bit burned out. And I think I couldn't even put my finger initially on why I was getting burned out, other than, it was an emotional toll. It was a time toll. But I started to get to the point where I was like dreading these coaching calls, and I couldn't understand that part of it. Like why? But I finally did figure it out. What I was struggling with is that I was teaching people how to be more financially successful, and it was working. But, Tony Robbins likes to say that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And I started to see that in some of my coaching clients, where I was just focused on giving them, like, they're already successful. They're doctors, right? They're looking for more success and freedom. But for me, like, real estate was this pathway so that I could do other cool stuff. But for some of my coaching clients, it was just bringing in more money, more stress, and they almost didn't really know what to do with that additional money that was coming in to make their lives happier. And
Yeah.
so I
More
just
money doesn't
realized,
mean more happiness.
right,
Mm.
exactly. And so I wanted to build a stronger foundation. Um, and I wanted people to experience what I've experienced and see the light on that before we even talk about real estate. And so I started to feel called to work with men. I'm a man. I think some of my best experiences in life have been doing hard stuff with other men in the
Mm.
mountains. And I'm passionate about being a good husband, good father, good role model. And so I was just starting to feel called to work with other men. And so I iterated again. I went from, Freedom Physician, then Rapid Rise, and now I have this offering called Base Camp. We actually just launched this year. It's for high achieving men, not just physicians. And yes, most of the people that find me and that expressed interest in this, they want me as a real estate coach. But I'm like,
Mm.
get there eventually. This is
Mm.
also a 1 year program, but we're going to start with physical vitality,
Mm.
emotional health, spirituality, relationships. So building this stronger foundation.
Mm.
One of the first things we did just last month, they came up to Alaska. I live in Alaska, and we went and just did something cool in the mountains together. We had a couple days of doing hard stuff, super fun. And then I took them on a real estate tour of my properties. So like very, very practical. It was
Mm.
also awesome because they came to me and the whole thing just
Mm.
felt, instead of stressful, super fun. And
Mm.
it was mostly what I do anyway. Like I took them on a hike that I do very regularly in my
Yeah.
own backyard. And one of the guys at our next call, he said it was the best weekend of his life.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, dude. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about Basecamp and kind of this next iteration.
I love that. I love that. I mean, you're some things I want to acknowledge in you that, I think is just so powerful as success strategies is your willingness to reinvent based on your passion. Like you actually listen to how you're feeling, and you've really done that through your whole career. Where you became a physician. Most physicians are that they get in that almost that loss fallacy concept where it's like the sunk cost fallacy
Yeah.
where
Oh,
they've
yeah.
sunk so much time, finance, and energy going one direction. How could I possibly even think about going another direction?
So true.
And you don't listen to that. You've done really well to shift and go after what you want, even changing to this new offer. So it's just so good. Could you share a few lessons that, because you've had some great success in building your expert business on top of already the other success you've had, what are some, if you look back, what have been some lessons that if someone was wanting to really grow their business and wanting to go to higher ticket programs that you've done, like
Mm.
gradually increasing the price, what have been some lessons or some beliefs or some insights that you've had in selling these things that have helped you to grow?
I think the very first lesson came from that first call with you, which is just like allowing yourself to do it. Like just giving yourself permission to even like tell your story. Like I had a real story and I really was successful, but I was afraid to say that out loud and I
Mm.
was afraid to
Mm.
monetize it. So like giving yourself permission to lean into your awesomeness, to lean into your expertise, and to make money from what you have worked hard to learn how to do, and allowing yourself. I remember you telling me, Colin, that I had to shift my mindset that I was um, withholding service from like mankind by not putting myself out there in the world.
Mm.
That's how I needed to see it. And that was a mental switch for me that like, okay, I have value, and I'm actually doing people a disservice by not putting it out there. So I allowed to see my call as a coach similar to like my call in medicine. Like
Mm.
oncology is definitely a calling. It's a very special career. And I see it the same way, that I've been called in this way. It's been a journey as a coach, but that weekend retreat with these guys up here in Alaska, and the light bulb moments that we had together in the mountains was very similar, where I just felt called into that situation. So I'd say that's number one. It's just like, give yourself permission to put it out there. Number two, I don't know if I want to say fake it till you make it, but like, don't be afraid to sell something before you've created it. And then just figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
that worked for me. Was it stressful? Yeah, there was some stress involved, to be sure, but like, sell it and then create it. Like, I think I see a lot of people, whether it's in business or in coaching, invest all these resources before they're going to monetize it, and then they end up taking like no action because they get caught up in the process, right? And I was the opposite. Like, I just went all in and monetized it first and then figured it out. And I would absolutely say that's the way to go.
Well, you made an investment in yourself. I know you bought our programs and worked with me, but it was like that. Have you found that for you? I know for me, like, if I make the investment first, it creates such a rubber band pull of just like, it slingshots me into that next level. And I love that you did that. What about selling higher ticket stuff? What insights have you had with selling, like growing to go from 3.5 to 5 to 30,000? What's been that journey like, and what are some internal things you've had to resolve to be able to do that?
I don't know if you've had this experience, but for me, selling the higher ticket price, like when I went from the $3,000 product to the $30,000 product, the type of people that you generally find are just like easier to work with. And they take it so much more seriously than
Yeah,
those
they do.
who pay a lower ticket item. Like, they're gonna show up with notes and they're ready to go. And so, like, the results that I saw when I 6x my price, were actually more impactful than when the price was lower. But it's also a double-edged sword. So, like, when I went from 30 people to 5 people, man, if you have a smaller cohort and you have even just one client in there that maybe you didn't select very well, or they aren't taking action, it can be really contagious in a small group. And so, like, I think I learned that. Like, I liked the small group idea because I wanted to have more availability to pour into my clients. And my first cohort went really, really well. I selected the right people. I was super picky. But by my third cohort, as kind of the easy pickings weren't there anymore, and I was just like filling the cohort, I wasn't as selective. And that ended up really kind of biting me in terms of the energy of that group. And there's nowhere to hide, as opposed to, say, having 30 people in a group. So I would say, if you have that higher ticket item, one-on-one's probably the way to go, or being super selective about a small cohort. Or ideally, what I'm trying to do with Basecamp is build something really large that is also a high ticket item. So, like, my goal
100%.
yeah, my goal for Basecamp is to eventually be 50 guys, and it's going to be a $30,000 ticket eventually. So that's where I want to end up. But I like that energy of the larger cohorts. And I'll also say, like, I don't know how your courses are doing, like your evergreen courses. Mine, I feel like with the age of AI, courses are suffering now, and they're a little bit harder, because if you know the right questions to ask, and you know how to spot when AI is hallucinating to you, like, man, AI can almost do better than the things that I have created, because it's more up to date, like, instantly. So I really think what people are craving now is community, and that's another
Yeah.
reason why I pivoted to Basecamp. So the courses that I created, I now just consider packaged into these communities.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, information is such a commodity now, and it's going less and less that way.
Yeah.
And I think if you integrate AI in the program, it definitely can be like an accelerant with it. But I can appreciate. Did you put your courses on like an evergreen sales, or what? How did that work?
So I partnered with someone else in my space, and we are about to do that.
Cool.
But his feedback, so he is much further along the process than I, multiple seven-figure coach. He's really struggling with courses that were previously really successful, struggling selling them. And he's almost like reluctant to even sell ours versus just try to like use them as lead magnets or not lead magnets, but packaged into our higher dollar masterminds.
Yeah, I definitely think, I know even for us, we've lent away from just selling courses now to doing, to doing implementation and group coaching experiences, is like community coaching, implementation help, accountability, because, you know, I mean, and here's the problem is it's a perceived ease with AI. Is like the reality of someone actually going through AI and doing a successful, large commercial real estate transaction, multifamily transaction. Like, it's like, it's perceived.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But if they went through your course, Larry, and then maybe had a little bit of AI with it, I mean, the chances of them doing that transaction is a lot higher. Right. I would rate it at like less than 1%. Through AI, and maybe, maybe 40% if they go through your course to actually do it, right? Not everyone's going to do it, but it's like, so I just think it's perceived as well. So it's kind of an interest, but I agree. I think integrating community and accountability and coaching and all of those human things, that's the moat. That's the moat. So
and I do believe that as we kind of go through this transition societally, that it's really that connection and that community that people are going to be searching for. And so, that's what I'm trying to build.
I love that. Larry, it's been so good having you on here. If people want to check you out, freedomphysician.com.
Thefreedomphysician.com.
Freedomphysician.com. I know you've got some free downloads and so forth. If anyone's listening, they are a physician, or they are a really successful guy and they want to be a part of a group of successful men working through life, definitely go and check it out. And I know you got Basecamp coming up as well with your new program. So, dude, it's been a pleasure having you on the Expert Edge. Thanks so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me. It's great seeing you again.
Thanks, Larry.
Take care.